It's a good ball played in for Tony Morley. Oh, he missed it! Yes! He's away! Villa in the lead!
Hello, good evening, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to the Villa Forever podcast. I am your host, Chad Williams. Please subscribe. Help me to the road to 2K. Make sure to smash the like button on this video. And you can follow me on all socials. In the Premier League on Super Sunday, if any Spurs won, Aston Villa 2, superb Aston Villa climbed back into the top half of the Premier League table, thanks to goals, excellent goals from Morgan Rogers, Emi Buendia from Argentina. And with Unai Emery at Aston Villa, the good form continues, and we've turned the corner. But on this episode, we turn our attention to the Europa League, and I'm joined by my special guest, Michael Statham, who is from FootballOranje, which is a Dutch football podcast, and show regular Aaron Thornton, who is the host of The Football Brief, will be on the show. This is the match preview episode. I'll be doing the pre-match talk show. Go ahead, Eagles versus Aston Villa. On Thursday in the Europa League is a 5:45 p.m. kickoff. Once again, Aston Villa travel to the Netherlands. The Aston Villa win the Netherlands was a 2-0 away victory. They're looking for the same outcome again. It's great to have both of you on the show this evening. How are we?
Yeah, great. I've been blessed to be on the Villa podcast. Love them. I'm a Villa fan as well as a massive Dutch football fan. So, yeah, pleasure. And of course, just having watched Villa beat Spurs. Bouncing.
What a great time, yeah. This is the first time, actually, I've done an actual podcast right after the game, apart from match reaction videos. So, we'll talk a little bit about the game. Then tomorrow, I'll do a little bit more of video on my own reaction as well. So, Michael, I'll start with you then. So, obviously, you're a Villa fan. So, how are you feeling after today's result?
Well, 5 in a row. I really do expect it to be 6 in a row on Thursday, but I don't think it will be straightforward or simple. But just purely expecting it from a Villa are stronger and Go Ahead Eagles point of view. But how am I feeling at the minute? That we obviously have a lot of games coming up now, and it is important we rotate and give some fresh faces some minutes and a chance to impress in the Europa League.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what as well. It's good to see Morgan Rogers. He's back to himself again. He's back to his best. And Emi Buendia is a real impact again.
Yeah, those guys are back in form, and it is great to see things like the winning goal today where Rogers didn't have a part of it, but the fact that we were back to our flowing best and Rogers scoring as well. These players are back in form and we're playing better football. Still could be even better though, and you know that's good that if we can win 5 in a row and still play better, then we're still in for an exciting season. I think we all thought at the beginning of the season it was going to be a really great one, and then we had a big dumper, didn't we, as we had some bad results. But it feels like it's coming back on track now to what we were expecting.
Because we're really in good form. So I think it's 8 in all competitions. For me, so that's 5 consecutive victories. So Emery, he's really turned it around. But I always believed in Emery that he was going to do that.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chad. And I couldn't agree more. I think, you make the point about Emery, and yeah, we were in a bit of a slump, but we always, I think, as a fan base, thought that Emery was, more than capable of turning it around. And I think the last sort of 5 games, like every game, we've gradually improved, and there's been a bit of an improvement here and there. I thought today was just, when the first goal went in for them, and you start thinking, oh no, is it going to be one of these sort of days? But we stuck at it, and I thought our defence was solid. I thought Konza was immense. I thought Matty again was great. I thought Luca Dean had one of the better games I've seen him having, this season. Pau Torres was back to his best, and that base allowed us to sort of push on a bit. And I thought we really got stuck in. John McGinn was just his tenacious self, and like Michael just said, that both goals were great, and Rodgers, I think they'll do in the world a good scoring. But that second goal was just beautiful to watch. Just that touch from
outstanding. Oh yeah, absolutely outstanding.
And then Buendia, like you say, Buendia from Argentina has just picked up where he left off, and credit to him again, for sticking it out. And he could have easily left, but he sort of made Emery, reconsider, and fair play. A beautiful finish from him, and I'm buzzing with it, mate. To be honest, because I just thought, with the momentum that we gained before the international break, you wanted to continue that, and to do that in the way we did against Tottenham, not an easy place to go. And then, like Michael said as well,
and Spurs. The one thing I was going to say out of that.
Yeah, go on.
We got a really good record.
Yeah.
And Buendia, he scored against Spurs not a few seasons ago.
Yeah, it was the 2023, wasn't it? At the start of the year, I think it was him and Douglas Luiz. I remember. But yeah, like he just does the world of good for momentum, and with Go Ahead Eagles on Thursday again, like Michael touched on, we go into that game expecting to win, and that's no disrespect, just as a Villa fan base squad, we want to win that game, we expect to win that game, but it's a different test, so it's something we're gonna have to overcome. But I think, yeah, just really, really pleased with that result, mate. Like it's really put me in a good place.
And we showed so much character and resilience, because even when it went 1-0 down from Bentancur, I thought actually the whole game, exit the whole 90 minutes, his sort of touches, and plus he was excellent, very sort of incisive. Also as well, Matty Cash, big shout out to him as well, because what a ball, as well, what a fantastic ball. He put some power into that pass.
Yeah, mate, it was incredible. And do you know what's nice as well? That Onana came straight back in, and I was a bit unsure because Bergard plays so well. But the fact that we've got players now coming back in, and Barkley made another appearance, and everyone looks fairly assured and confident now. I thought Onana started a bit shaky, and I was thinking, I don't know, but he sort of grew into the game, and it's just a really, really good selection headache for Emery to have so many players fighting for positions and all knowing their job when they do come in. So yeah, really, really pleased.
And John McGinn, he was a real warrior. He was sort of everywhere. And even the way that he was winning corners for his team, but he showed the real the leader's performance, and also the substitutions. It really shows what the quality of our squad depth. You can bring Ollie Watkins and bring Eddie Buendia on. And actually both of them, they linked up really well.
I want to give a shout out as well to Martin, who came on for those 10 minutes and looked superb. Pretty much every action he did was decisive for the game.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Absolutely, I agree.
A couple of good clearances in the defence as well, wasn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. The momentum was with us. It's definitely with us now. And we're in the top half now. So it's all to play for now. So we'll talk about Thursday then. The Michael's Europa League action. So I don't really know much about Go Ahead Eagles. So who are Go Ahead Eagles?
I'll try not to talk for too long, so I'm quite obsessed with Dutch football. So
Mate,
low down and Go Ahead Eagles.
Do it, mate. So,
Let's do it. Right, so you got a club that a lot of Netherlands, Dutch people are like. They love Go Ahead Eagles. They're one of those clubs that people like, and people were really delighted to see them do what kind of Crystal Palace did last season. They won their first prize in their history. They won the Dutch Cup, done in a really exciting way, with the way that they were 1-0 up. They were losing the cup final 1-0, and then they got a penalty in the last minute, scored it, forced extra time, and then won the cup on penalties. And the team have just been getting better and better since the promotion back to the top flight. Historically, they're a strong club, but have kind of floundered around for quite a while in the second tier. Come back and have worked their way back up to being like a European challenger without ever really cementing themselves in that top 5-6 teams in the league. But like I say, won the cup. They're in the Europa League this season, and their head coach last season, Paul Simonis, he got like a promotion, if you like, going to the Bundesliga with Wolfsburg. So they've now been left with a new head coach who's new to senior management. You've got a bunch of players who mostly stayed, only a couple of players left over the summer. Some players were just convinced to stay with the club, with the fans being so happy that they won the cup and they're in Europe. So they're kind of proving themselves now on the European stage. I suspect a lot of the players will leave in January or over the summer. But you've got a team that's actually got quite a lot of good players in there. If you look at the league table this season, you think, mid-table Dutch league fodder, they're not up to very much. Yeah. Each game they played, there's been a circumstance as to why they might not have picked up a point or picked up a win. And I think most of it has been down to fatigue. This is a team that is very... It's a threadbare squad. The players that are on the bench aren't actually that strong, but the starting 11 is strong. I think there's one or two extra players that can come off the bench and affect the game, and they're just having to play all the minutes. So when the players come off that are key, you're bringing on players that aren't quite as good, and they're not getting as many points as you would expect in the Eredivisie. But they are, comfortably a top half side in that league. They should be challenging for Europe if they didn't have these European commitments. And there's a few players who really out well for being really strong.
Only well established.
I mean, they have 4 league titles in their history, but they haven't really done much in their most. Sorry, when I say that, it's because they changed like name and this over their history. They as a club themselves now, as I say, they won their first prize in their history, winning the Dutch Cup. So they're established in terms of like Dutch club history, not really. Like Crystal Palace, you always know they are, but they've never really kind of hit the heights. But also not like a non-league club that have come from nowhere. They've got a good following from the town of Deventer. And it's just really nice to have their moment in the sunshine last summer. A lot of people felt very happy for them.
Yeah, the Deventer is close to the Dutch-German border. Which I didn't read on that. I didn't do research about that. Of famous players, including Mark Overmars and Erik ten Hag, have played for that club before.
Yeah, I mean, it's like most Dutch clubs that have those players that ultimately went to go and play for a really, really top side in the Netherlands. So they've never been able to really cement themselves, like I say, up there in that part of the league. This is them at the moment, enjoying that part of their history. I think it would be nice to see them in time do something like that, like an Arsenal Alkmaar, FC Twente, qualifying for Europe regularly. But at the moment, they're just enjoying this season and what they can bring to it. And they are definitely piling everything they can into the Europa League to try and just do what they can, get as far as they can. You may have seen they lost their first game at home to FCSB. Should have won that game. Had like 78% possession or something ridiculous. All the chances in the game. And then won 2-1 away at Panathinaikos, which was a great win, but in a different way. They were sat back for long periods of the game, stoked a lot of pressure, and a couple of real quality goals came on the counter-attack. So that's what I'd say for Villa to watch out for, counter-attacks, but also they are actually a pretty good team at home. So whilst I've said I expect Villa to win, I'm going to come back full circle by the end of this podcast, and now going to talk up Go Ahead Eagles, and I think they haven't got a chance in this game.
Yeah. The quite historic football club in the Netherlands. I've actually saw, they won 4 Dutch titles. Have you? So they have got a bit of like proud history. Sort of very traditional football club.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones where there are a few Dutch clubs that are the same, where they kind of merged or formed a new club over their history. So Go Ahead Eagles as an entity don't have that history, but they're kind of attached to it still. Not quite like a Rangers or a Wimbledon, but I'd say they're for example, AZ Alkmaar was made out of a team that was called Alkmaar and Zaanstreek, and they came together to make AZ Alkmaar, which is a confusing one in itself. But yeah, as a Go Ahead Eagles, I think they carry that history. But are still one of those clubs that have for a long time in their history not done that much, if you like, and not really come to the stage that they're at right now, which is really exciting.
Also, I was going to say, the stadium's very small. It's only 10,000, I read.
Yeah, but you'll find that it has a great atmosphere on Thursday. I'm really good that couldn't come out to this game, actually.
What are the fans like?
Whilst they don't have like the ultras kind of reputation that you might see with an Ajax or a Feyenoord, they have got a really good atmosphere, and they're known for that, which is why I do so well at home. So I think any Villa fans going out there, really enjoy yourself. Another trip to the Netherlands. I was out there for the AZ game in the Conference League, and thought that was a nice evening. AZ fans were okay. I hear that Villa fans enjoyed the Feyenoord fans, thinking the atmosphere was good. Albeit I wasn't there for that one. I think it's one of those that it's in a small stadium, but I think Villa fans will be impressed by what Go Ahead Eagles can put out.
I do like the Dutch. They're always very passionate.
It's almost, I think as well, like with a small intimate stadium, that almost makes it harder, doesn't it? As well, like a bit of a cauldron. And I think that Mike makes a really good point about the fact that they're sort of putting everything into the Europa League, and I think it will be a tough test. I think it will be a tough test. I think I mean, again, I imagine Michael can correct me if I'm wrong. Like they're looking forward to having a team like Villa come in to the ground, to the stadium. So I imagine they're going to want to put on a show and a performance. And in terms of like style, Michael, like I know you mentioned then about the counter attack, but they're actually quite good at home. Is there a sort of distinctive style that they've got, or is it very much just sort of sit and counter? Or do you think they're going to sort of play a bit?
No, they've got kind of two very distinct styles, I would say, and that's been coached over the years, even back to when Rene Harker was there as head coach. They've always played a 4-3-3, and the players don't seem to change. The personnel don't seem to change depending who they're playing, but you will see two different styles. The one that you typically see away from home is sat deep, counter attack. I've got some quality to do that. They were at PSV this weekend, lost 2-1. Were in it for periods, but actually largely dominated by PSV. But then you've got the style they have at home, which is to have lots of the ball, to use the wide areas, to use, and I can see they've got a live comment there about the player that will give Villa problems. For me, you'll see a ball a lot of the time go to Jakob Brum's feet. He's a Danish midfielder they've picked up for not that much money from Denmark, and he plays as a 10, but can come and drop deep to collect the ball and spray out passes. He's a good dribbler, good shot on him. You'll see him quite a lot. He's got bigger curly hair than me, but you'll see him when he plays. Brum's the one to watch out for. He'll take set pieces as well.
So have you got a few players that can hurt us?
Yeah. So I think he's one that can create. But then you've also got Milan Smith, who scored 6 games in a row, I think it is, away from home, albeit this one is at home. But I think he's having a good season so far. He's a tall striker. He was linked with a move to England, but didn't materialise. Brum was linked with a move to Celtic over the summer. But again, that hasn't happened yet. Who else can we watch out for? I'd say that just comparing the team generally, they're like a half decent championship side. They've got 2 really big centre backs that are defensively really solid. Good goalkeeper. They've got 2 good fullbacks. Their left back's not very physical, but he's quick. Really good cross on him, Dean James. Right back, you've got Matt Dyer, who's their captain. Again, gets up and down the pitch constantly. He's played like every minute this season, pretty much from the right back position. Midfield, you've got Merlenstein, who's he's like a defensive mid. He will sit in and make the back five like Kamara does sometimes, but also gets forward and is really good from set pieces. Good on the ball. I said about Brum, it's a number 10. And then after that, an attack. It depends who starts. Their two wingers are probably the weakest part of the team, but also can be really good on the ball, but just haven't been as effective this season.
They've actually got quite a few.
Yeah.
Wasn't it realised international players?
Yeah, so Richard Margaret is an international, but for Suriname. As well as that, you've got Victor Edvardsen, who's a really good attacking player, striker, can play in the wing, who's come back from injury, and he's like back in time for this game. I don't know if he'll start, but if he does, he's another player to watch out for. But if he comes off the bench, equally, so I think it's a bit of a danger. Yeah, they've got tools and can hurt Villa, but Villa are better, and if they can move those two big, strong centre backs, I think then Villa will have joy, and I think that they can use that mobility that some of our attacking players got, like Marlon.
You got interesting facts as well. That Go Ahead Eagles used to be called Be Quick.
Yeah,
that was their original name. That in 1905, it got changed then to Go Ahead Eagles.
Is that anything to do like financially with ownership issues? This whole change, or was it just they just fancied a change? What was the and
that's one age you got me there.
Itself, like why?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There were just a few clubs that merged in this similar way over the 1900s.
They didn't want to confuse it with other club names, I think.
Yeah, really don't know that one.
Interesting.
So, Malika, what do you expect for Thursday evening?
I think Villa are going to change, first of all, quite a lot of their players. I think a lot of players that are on the bench today will get a start.
Agreed.
I think it's time to see the likes of Lindelof, Martson all get a game. Bogard will play again. But I could be wrong with that. And maybe we'll see Konza start yet another game. But I think you can't keep starting all these players all the time for Villa. Yeah. So that, for me, gives Go Ahead Eagles a bit of an opportunity. But I do think Villa will be better. I think they'll have periods of pressure that Villa will be able to get through. Villa have got the goals. I think they can score early, Villa, and kind of dampen the occasion. I think that will be the key to the game. Otherwise, the longer it goes on, I think Go Ahead Eagles will fancy their chances. And we've seen that they can play two different styles. They can have possession and suffocate teams, but also Go Ahead Eagles can sit in deep and defend. Look out for the sort of danger out wide, especially from the fullbacks. And Smith is a bit of a danger with his height as well and physicality. And Brum will just be running the game from midfield. I think Emery will have to watch quite a few clips of him to see how they can stop him. Kamara job, I reckon.
Well, I think it should be a fairly comfortable victory. I think that obviously we can't be complacent, but if we can beat Feyenoord, then I'll say we should beat Go Ahead Eagles.
But did you two not think that in the first half, the final game was really quite even and could have gone either way? Final could have gone one up, maybe even intense.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. We had to sort of ride the wave a bit, didn't we? And if they had scored a goal, you sort of think, I wonder how it would have panned out. But no, I totally agree. I think we had to sort of get through an initial sort of period, and then the quality sort of came through in the end. But I totally agree. It was definitely not a straightforward game, and it was definitely tough.
If you get an early goal, it'd be very important for us. Yeah. You get an early goal, and look after possession. Look at the bit like we did in the Spurs game. We moved the ball sharply. And also, our fullbacks, they're going to be important getting forward the Villa.
Yeah.
Sorry,
providing support. Because I don't know Matthew Cash are going to play.
But
Matson will start, do you think?
I think so,
Yeah, I'll say Matson, yeah.
I think like Michael was saying, I think a lot of those players who are on the bench today, even like the likes of Barkley, Sancho, maybe, they've sort of been around, and Elliott, they might get a start. I don't know if he's going to go full on everybody. He might sort of have a couple of regulars in there amongst them and bring others on. But, like Michael was saying, if they've got sort of tricky wingers, the fullbacks will be important. But what was encouraging about it today was, which you've both sort of touched on, was our passing between the lines was a lot sharper, a lot quicker, I felt today. I felt like, the last few weeks even though we've gradually got better, it's been a lot more laboured in terms of, those sort of quick passes into the tens. And I think today was fairly quick. Because if their major threat is the wing, maybe that'll give us a bit more opportunity to sort of pass through the middle again.
You know what I like as well? Every concept, the way he bursts forward, the way he pushes the team forward, under pressure, like you just get burst forward.
Yeah, he did that a couple of times today, didn't he? And he's done that over the years, but we haven't seen it recently. And it's quite, like you say, it's a good way of, as long as he doesn't get caught out, which he rarely seems to do. It's a good way of getting us sort of out of that third and sort of just
You remember that Brentford game, the summer series?
Oh yeah.
When he kept going, he kept going, didn't he?
He found that finish, didn't he? Yeah. No, it's encouraging. I think you can see within the squad there's a lot more confidence coming in now. But again, this sort of game will breed a different mentality. It's not about being, sort of arrogant, and I don't think they will be. I think that they'll take, any team in front of them they have to take seriously and be professional. But if they're half as good as what Michael's saying, then I expect a really tricky test. And
I expect
the small stadium and stuff. I think it'll be. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what this team's got and what they're about.
You'll expect a few changes. I think Daniel Marlon, I think he'll start again. Because I think in the Europa League, Daniel Marlon will be utilised a lot in that competition.
Yeah, I think it's time to show Villa's strength in depth. Talking more as a Villa fan for a minute, I think with for example, Bogard not getting a start today, not even getting on the pitch, like he deserves that start again on Thursday, given the way he was playing. He wasn't giving the ball away at all, was he, for the 3 games? So
no.
Yeah, but Bogard actually, I'd say he pretty starts. Also, you got Bizot, which has been a very good understudy to Martinez. And his performances proved it. I mean, Bizot was the man of the match against Feyenoord.
Yeah. It's so nice, isn't it, having the number 2 that you're not sort of fearful when, if Martinez is injured or he has to pull out.
Olsen.
Yeah, you're sort of a lot more confident. And we have quite a strong Dutch contingency within our squad, don't we, really, when you think about it? With
Four Dutch players.
Bogard, Bizot, like it's quite nice. So it'd be nice if they can all start. And
I was thinking that, yeah, all 4 to start.
It'd be good, yeah. And I imagine it's quite nice for them to go back to their, obviously with Feyenoord as well, but to have the opportunity to go back to their own country for a bit and just sort of be around. I think that always bodes well, I think, for us and the squad, and just with knowing the culture. I'm sure they know the team as well, the Go Ahead Eagles. So that's a positive for us, I think.
And the away support, the away from home. We always have got like incredible fans. I think in this game, the away support's going to be very important again.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
without
the
doubt.
trouble, Europe, they'd always do, yeah.
Is the town ready for the Villa fans to descend? Have they got the bars open and ready? You're going to welcome them with open arms?
Yeah, there'll be no bad blood at all. Chad said it earlier, like Dutch people were great, and they'll just enjoy the occasion. I think they'll be drinking together, the Villa fans, to be honest. And they normally have like stands set up all separate with the away fans, but I can see some fans sharing a drink. Yeah,
that's good. That's what it's about. It's nice. That's the nice part about it all, isn't it? And I'm just good. I can't be there or can't make the trip over, but
yeah, me too.
So we're going to get a graphic on the screen. So Michael, we're going to have a look at the Go Ahead Eagles lineup. The predicted lineup that you kindly sent me. So can you talk me through how they set up? What have they set up?
Yeah, so that it's always in the 4-3-3, whether it's going to be defensive or attacking. I think some things to add to what I didn't say earlier. Like I said, Dean James, that left back, will get forward quite a lot, and it's quite dangerous with these low crosses. He'll kind of use Sorey as a bit of a foil to kind of overlap. Sorey's more of an attacking midfielder, but he's kind of picked for his sensibilities on the ball and the way he can keep it. Kind of like how we sometimes would have McGinn on the right, if that makes sense. But I know that's a bit of a failed experiment now. Margaret's been a new signing in the summer. I mean, just to give you levels here, he signed for like €1 million over the summer. And that was quite a big outlay for a Dutch team of this size. He's been okay, but could be better getting back, could still be better on the ball getting forward, be more efficient, but still can be a threat. I'd love to see Edvardsen in the team. I did send you this predicted lineup because I didn't know that Edvardsen will be fit. He will be fit for Thursday, but whether he will start or not is a question. And if he does, he'll either play as a striker or he'll play one of the wide positions. And he's physical, will put himself about, and a bit like McGinn, will get the fans on side and will get everyone going. So I'm actually excited to see him play. I'd love to see him start just for the matchup, really, for a bit of atmosphere. And like I said, if Villa don't get an early goal, the longer it goes on, the bigger of a chance Go Ahead Eagles have got, even just to get a draw, which would be a great result for them.
Yeah, Michael, would you say that the Go Ahead Eagles team, are they sort of youthful? Have they got a few youth players? Like younger players?
Looking around, not really. I mean, Brum is that young talent coming through, but he's not coming from their own academy. They are struggling at the moment, I think, for that kind of one amazing academy product that's going to come through and make them a lot of money. That's what always happens, of course, in Dutch football. They've signed a couple of younger players, though, mostly from Scandinavia, that are all sitting on the bench at the moment. That will probably get moves in time if they can keep their development up. I mean, a fun one's Matt Style. Like, he is a kid of the club, and he didn't move in the summer, and he's in his kind of late 20s now. And stayed the whole time as the captain. I think Dean James might be an interesting one. He could get a move soon. Still relatively young, but again, didn't come from their academy or anything.
Doesn't Go Ahead Eagles? Do you say that they're 11th in Eredivisie at the moment? I didn't say that. But there's room for improvements.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Sorry, you were saying like that. There could potentially be a bit of a sale in January in the summer.
Yeah.
Has that like caused any like unrest, or is that just sort of like an accepted, known sort of thing that's going to happen, and that's just how it is? Or
so always see Dutch teams as like a bit of a food chain, that you've got some players in it that have just joined the club from even the academy or from a Scandinavian club or a lower Dutch club, and then after that they develop there for 1, 2, 3 years. And then they moved on, and it's really normal. Like, it's seen that way as like a really healthy thing to do in Dutch football. Mm-hmm. It seems alien to some English clubs to do something like that, but all Dutch clubs are selling clubs, and that's how they make a large part of their income. So Brum there in the middle of that picture, like I'll eat my hat. I'll eat my hat. I'll eat my Villa scarf in the background if he's at that club next season. Oh, wow. I think he'll go in January, but I'm just that convinced that he'll get a move to a bigger club. Yeah. He wants it as well, but stayed because of clubs were interested, but he stayed because of the Europa League. Yeah, he didn't get that offer that really convinced him to go. And that's just normal. He was even convinced by a commentator that was stood with him in a post-match, asking him these questions. And he went, and they said to him, just stay at the club. Just stay for the Europa League. Enjoy it. It's that open and honest in the media.
That's such a different. Sorry, Chad. That's such a different, stark contrast to English media, isn't it? That's that's interesting. Sorry, Chad.
I was going to say as well, like in the formation, that does you put 4-3-3, so it's very attacking minded.
Yeah, but same as all Dutch clubs will do. I mean, the fullbacks also get forward a lot too. And very, very normal, very typical. They love their attacking football. I believe the Dutch league has gone the longest it's ever gone this season without a 0-0 so far. No 0-0s at all this season.
Wow.
It is a fascinating league, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. But that's why I'm sat here with orange things in the background. So you speak to the right
So,
person.
Michael, you know, your podcast.
Yeah.
Is there a team of you?
If I was to pick anyone, I'd pick RZ because I love the way that they've challenged those top teams over the years and always have a fantastic academy. For me, he's the best in the Netherlands now. You always think Ajax, but now I always think about RZ because they have fed a lot of those talents to the top clubs or European clubs.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Tijani Reinders now, Man City.
Yeah.
You've got Sam Berkham at Napoli. Kirkes wasn't really an academy product, but has been developed through RZ. As at Liverpool, I mean, need I go on? They've got a number of players that are now at the top clubs.
It's what Ajax, like, they're in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of pride with these clubs when they see like the likes of Kirkes and
100%.
So that they see them, you know, like even if it's 2, 3, 4 years down the line, are they sort of sitting there like, you know, yeah, you know, we were the beginning of that journey. There's a nice sense of pride for them.
Definitely. And clubs will do a mixture of things with this. They'll have sell-on clauses as they go to bigger clubs because they know they're going to move again. They'll always be invited back. They always like reposting stuff on Twitter X about how they're getting on at other clubs because it's, sense of pride and fans love it. And sometimes you see players come back as well later in their career and that's really exciting for them as well.
That's really...
With Dutch football, they've always been blessed with talented players. It's a hotbed of talent, I think.
Yeah, and you look at like, you know, any sort of European Championship or World Cup, like Holland, or, you know, the Netherlands, they've always been a threat. Like you always think, oh man, we've got Holland, or you know, they're in our group, or like they've always had not just one player. Like it's always like, you know, 4, 5, 6 unreal players in the squad. And yeah, I agree. I think clearly they're doing something right, and their formula, you know, they're not. I mean, look, I don't want to sound offensive, Michael. You can correct me. Like, you know, they're not pressed about having the best league in the world, but I know it's better than a lot of people give it credit for. But it's that sense of pride about, you know, generating and sort of curating these players who can go on to play for the national squad, but also go on and play in, you know, the big clubs across Europe or whatever. They've clearly got a really good balance of how they're doing that. It's good to see.
And the league is growing still. And it isn't the best league in Europe. I don't know if that's ever going to be their aim. But trying to make it more recognised worldwide. And it's now the 6th best league in Europe. You know, you got those top 5 leagues. The Eredivisie 6th and has been the 6th best for 3 years in a row. Having previously been as low as 16th, 15th. But the league has worked really hard. The KNVB, the FA of the Netherlands, if you like. They've worked really hard to make that better. Players stay long at clubs before they take that transfer. And it's been great. I mean, this is another Dutch club in Europe that, you know, this isn't final or PSV, this is Go Ahead Eagles and they're in the Europa League. This wouldn't have been thought of 5, 10, 15 years ago because the clubs weren't that strong.
Impressive. Very impressive.
We'll move on to the next talking point then. So, I'm going to ask you, Michael. So what's the reason you support Aston Villa?
I'm from Birmingham. I'm a Villa fan.
Always, born and bred then?
That way. Born and bred, yeah.
I think the question is, where's the obsession? Sorry, with Dutch football. If you know what I mean, like it's just such an interesting niche. But you know, I'm very like, you know, it's really cool that you're interested.
Yeah. Two reasons, and talking to Villa fans, you'll get it. Wilfred Baumer.
Oh yeah.
So when I was a kid, he was with Villa.
Wilfred Baumer,
yeah.
What a player.
And second reason was getting to the World Cup final, the Netherlands, watching that, really exciting. And Baumer then went to go and play in the Eredivisie after having this really bad injury. Like, as a kid, you know, and you get attached to a player and you say that they're your favourite player, but you don't really know why. Baumer was that player for me.
Were you a left
for some
back?
reason?
Did you play a left back, or did you watch him, or did it just happen? You just fell on him like, I like this guy.
I'm actually a right back when I play football. It's just maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know, but I just attached it for some reason, and then he obviously saw his ankle nearly fall off, and then I was devastated. But then seeing him go to PSV, I had to watch a few of the games, and was like, oh, this league's
Yeah.
really fun. This is really exciting. There's always goals. There's always young talents that come through. You hear about them first before playing at the World Cup. So, yeah, those are two massive reasons why.
Well, Wilfred Bowman,
People.
it's a shame that he had a real bad injury in it. Because I don't think what season it was. But it might be
08, 09.
Martin O'Neill. Oh, no, that was it. Yeah. Martin O'Neill, that was it. Yeah. He didn't play again since, which is a shame.
Yeah, but then went back to PSV and actually did some good stuff and played quite well as left back and at centre back in the end before he retired. He's had a real quiet retirement though. It's quite hard to find stuff on him now.
What's he doing now? Is he doing coaching?
He was a coach at PSV in the youth academy, but I admit I'm not actually sure if he's in there anymore. So I'm not sure.
Okay. So we'll go to the last point, Michael. So Michael, let's talk about the City of the Venta. So what things are there to do for the Aston Villa title?
I've got to admit, I've never been to Deventer, but it's still very much a Dutch place, even though it's on the border. I've been to lots of other places in the Netherlands. I can tell you about Venlo, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague, Alkmaar, other places. But yeah, and to be honest, they're mostly the same.
Amsterdam, I want to go there.
Oh yeah, I recommend it. You can have all sorts of different trips over in Amsterdam. You can go with all sorts of different like rationales. You can go with your mates, you can go with your partner, and you can have a great time.
Yeah.
But what I love about Dutch towns and cities is what they have over the UK. Because the Netherlands doesn't really have the scenery, but it does have a beautiful town centres. Wonderful place to be.
I didn't realise that in the Netherlands, it's a fairly small country, but although it's a beautiful country, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been once, I've been twice actually. No, once. A few years ago, but like Michael was saying, just beautiful in terms of like some of the villages that you see or you drive through, and like the architecture is quite old school, and it's it's a nice place, and everyone's just really lovely, friendly. I find the Dutch people. I had a good friend who's also a Villa fan. His dad did a lot of business in Holland, so we always had different people around or business people around who were from Holland, and just always wanting to take you to a game if you're over in Holland, and really, really proud of their country and their footballing traditions. And if they're in England, just want to go see the football, would love to watch a game. Like, they're just always, I feel like it's very similar to England in terms of like they live and breathe football, which just obviously it's slightly different in terms of the culture of football, but the essence of it is just the same. And I think that's, that's what I found anyway. But lovely country, lovely people.
Because you can also get borders. The country is like it's a real important part of Europe, really. It's history.
Yeah, really nice country to go and visit. Would recommend.
Yeah. And look, I'd just like to say thank you for joining me and Aaron. You've been a fantastic guest.
Yeah. Really knowledgeable, mate. Thank you, mate.
Very welcome. Yeah, anytime.
I was going to do score predictions. So Aaron first. So what's your score prediction Thursday evening?
So before this show, I had no idea, but thanks to Michael's intel, I'm going to credit Go Ahead Eagles with a goal. I would like to keep a clean sheet, but I think they're going to, cause a few problems. But I'm going to say, I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 to the Villa, and that's not a massive gap. I just think, if we get a couple of goals, we might sort of, heads may drop. But I think 3-1 might be a fair sort of realistic result for the Villa.
I'm going to go a 3-0 away victory. I think confidence is really with us. I think this momentum will keep giving.
Yeah.
I think either of you could be right in your own way. Like, you could have a really close game and Go Ahead Eagles get a goal at some point, or Villa score early and it's comfortable and perhaps quite straightforward then, with Go Ahead Eagles having their heads dropping. They've not had the most confidence this season, especially in the league, but did come from behind to beat Panathinaikos, so anything's possible in football. I'm going to go I have to go positive going Eagles here a bit. So I'll say 2-1 Villa. But 2-1's a common scoreline. I don't know. We'll see.
That's fair, yeah, that's a decent prediction.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this podcast, please remember to make sure to subscribe. Make sure to smash the likes. And make sure to give it a share. Spread the word about this podcast on your socials. And if you're listening via audio, including Spotify and Apple, make sure to leave us a good review. That always helps. Also, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time, both of you.
Thanks, mate.
Very welcome.
I am going to wrap up this episode with Villa forever as always. Every day from Argentina.
Hmm.
And up the Villa.